trees all through the year. That's refreshing as well. And here we begin traversing the north villages. La Matanza. That name means the massacre in Spanish. And this is where the conquest began in 1494. And obviously somebody was killed by somebody else. So the first inhabitants, we call them the Guanches, and they were the ones who massacred the Spanish soldiers. They actually prepared a very, very well done ambush. They knew that the Spanish soldiers were coming from the Santa Cruz area. They left their ships and they came advancing toward the north side, which was the crown jewel of the island, and they were felled. Of the 2,000 soldiers, 1,800 were killed in a ravine. And there is a mural on the wall on the left that depicts the Guanche warrior dressed in a tunic of goatskin, sounding his victory over the Spanish soldiers. Sees the first Malmsey stalks brought in by a Portuguese mariner in the hold of a ship and planted here in Tenerife with other varieties. Listan Negro is the most prevalent. Listan Negro in California is known as the missionary grape because it was taken by the priest to colonize and proselytize and take the true religion off to the west of the United States, and they planted this type of grape outside their missions because they wanted to have wine to celebrate the Eucharisty. So it's known throughout the Americas, Black Listan, that originally came from somewhere in the mainland of Spain. So these are all vineyards. We will see they're all different types of plantations at lower elevations, but at this intermediate elevation, this is where we have our grapevines. So we're coming up to a sharp curve in the road. There used to be a high incidence. Stromboli in a one-off event. There are 15 volcanoes inside the caldera. Yep. We have in the island of Tenerife 150 volcanoes, 10 of which have date of eruption. The others do not because they took place before the 15th century of Tenerife, which took place between the 7th and 8th centuries. So that means 1200 to 1300 years ago. Someone asked me the other day, how do they date volcanic eruptions at that period when nobody was here, nobody lived here? Well, the Guanches were here, but they didn't date anything. They studied the polarity of the poles, the magnetism in rock in association with the North and South poles. That's how they managed to get a date, an approximate date, give or take a couple centuries. I just saw the 15th century when the conquest takes place, because the first inhabitants, we call the Guanches, this group of people, they had no written language, and so they didn't write down the volcanic dates. They knew of Teide. Most of it is phonolytic, meaning it comes from 30 to 40 kilometers below the Earth's crust. Basalt comes from much deeper, 50 to 60 kilometers below the Earth's crust. And this is obsidian. Look at the shine on these rocks here. They're all black and shiny, and some are precursor obsidian, which can also be brown in coloration. Nowhere in the world, according to our volcanologists, do we have so much variety in volcanics as in this small